Welcome into a brand new season, 2026 of Power Four Picks, brought to you by Better and Green. So happy to be back. So happy to start talking football. It is week 0. We only have a select couple games, no ranked games either, which we've been blessed with the last couple years. But football is back. We do have a single solo breakdown we want to bring to you guys here. This is the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. It's played in Ireland. And this is between North Carolina and TCU. These two teams did face off in the opening game of these two teams' schedule last year. With, I believe, me and you also made a lot of money on this game. This was a 48-14 TCU blowout of Bill Belichick's debut. I know me and you were pretty heavy fading, I believe, North Carolina. I know a lot of people thought that Belichick was going to be the Messiah here. We turned out, he was had a bit of a struggle that week one, and obviously the entire season. But he's back for year 2. TCU, big news this offseason, losing Jake Hoover, their phenomenal quarterback, going to Indiana. Indiana's doing this is their third year in a row with a transfer quarterback, so probably a good fit over there. But they're without a quarterback. They have Jaden Craig from Harvard, and North Carolina is with a new quarterback. They have Billy Edwards, who is on his third program in 4 years. He was at Maryland for 3 seasons. He was at Wisconsin last year, got hurt week 2, didn't play the rest of the year. Now he's starting back up at North Carolina. So a couple different changes here for both these teams. And like I said, this is an international game, so you always got to factor in that travel. Looks like it's going to be a little rainy. It's on a grass field. We saw it last year with Kansas State and Iowa State. That field got torn up real quick. But yeah, we're excited to talk about. We have a couple bets for you, but I'll send it to you, Ethan. How are you feeling about this game, and how are you feeling with football being back?
Yeah, obviously can't wait for football to be back. Very excited to get into week 0, although, just off screen, we were talking preseason NFL football, and week 0 is kind of, preseason where
Yeah.
like I'm pumped for Thursday, but all those games are teams that I won't even blink at to come, 10 days from now. But football nonetheless, meaningful football. So very excited for this matchup. I was going to bring up the same thing. Like you mentioned, we faded the hell out of Bill Belichick in his debut with North Carolina last year. Easiest bet of our lives, probably. And, wish we could do the same here. But there is a bet that I'm liking, and I just kind of have a feeling we're going to be on the same side here. But I like the under 47.5 quite a bit in this game. And yeah, you mentioned it, different quarterbacks for both teams with the transfers. Obviously, Josh Hoover being the big quarterback that is no longer with TCU. I like that TCU brings in a guy from Harvard where, those Ivy League quarterbacks, they, to me, are they're a little bit smarter where they're going to try not to turn the ball over. And even reports coming out of TCU camp is that he's only turned the ball over twice this entire fall camp or I guess summer camp. And both of those were on tip passes. So I expect, kind of a vanilla game plan from TCU a little bit where they're going to try not to make mistakes. They're going to try to run the ball and try to ease into this new quarterback. And then same thing from North Carolina, like you said, a guy who hasn't played since week 2 of last season. I think same thing. Belichick's going to try to ease him in. I think Belichick's going to be heavy on the run game. And then there's just so much going on in North Carolina. Bill's son, the defensive coordinator, he's on like a medical leave, I think, right now. They had issues with Lombardi above Belichick in the offseason. So, I do think it's good for North Carolina to get away, travel overseas, really just try to put the focus on football. Obviously, Bill has had his fair share of off the field publicity since he has gotten to North Carolina. So I think it's good that they get to travel, get away. I also like that it was such a high scoring 48-14 final last year. I think, everyone's going to look at that, just assume it's going to be high scoring again. I think it's going to be pretty vanilla from both sides. I think both sides are going to try to, not make the first mistake, not turn the ball over early. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think UNC has like 60 or more transfer players. So in the world of the transfer portal and everything that's going on in college sports, it's just got to be very hard to come in that first game and like really click offensively. I think defensively is where you probably click a little bit better, more than on that offensive side of the ball. So yeah, I think we just get a lot of running from both sides in this game. Teams trying not to make a mistake. 2 quarterbacks that I expect to kind of ease back into it. Really kind of like the under 47.5. And if I did have to give you a side, I do trust Belichick way more in his second season than I did in his first. I would lean North Carolina plus the points, but not overly excited to back a side here. especially without really knowing either quarterback, at these schools.
Yeah, I'll give out some recent scores for this game and recent trends that I'm looking at. Again, I get super focused on these things that happen in the past, and I try to manifest them to happen in the future. It's a terrible strategy. I think there's a saying out there like past results don't equal future results or something like that. But I take it way too close to heart here. So this game, fun fact, last three games for the Aer Lingus College Football Classic had ended exactly at 45 points. The last two games have ended exactly 24-21. Underdogs are doing crazy in this game. We did have that lopsided matchup with Notre Dame and Navy 3 years ago, with Notre Dame winning that game 42-3. I mean, we all kind of expect that. It's a Notre Dame against a group of five military school. But every other game here, the underdogs are honestly doing fantastic. They are 3-0 straight up, or 3-1 straight up. They are 4-0 against the spread. Again, we are excluding that Notre Dame Navy game. So the underdogs doing pretty well. And besides that Notre Dame Navy game, the four of the last five, or 4 out of 4, have been decided by exactly 3 points. So underdogs, it looks like they do kind of have some fight in this game. There is also a curse in the Aer Lingus Bowl as of late. We had two teams in the last 2 years. Most notoriously, we had Florida State, who was ranked number 10 in this game. They lost. They finished the season 2-10. So lost 10 games, terrible season. Didn't even come close to sniffing a bowl. And last year we had Kansas State. That was a ranked matchup between Kansas State and Iowa State. Kansas State was the higher rank. Kansas State was a favorite. They lost that game, go 6-6, and opt out of a trash bowl game. So the loser of this game has notoriously done terrible. So keep that into mind. I know both these teams aren't looking fantastic this year. I think North Carolina's win total is 4.5. I think TCU's 6.5. But just keep that in mind for the potential loser of this game to kind of have a rough 2026 season. But that'll bring me to my bet here. I have no complaints with the under. Like I said, a lot of travel. Usually these younger college players have a little bit of difficulty with different time zones, long flights, new field, everything like that. And like I said, it's going to be a little rainy. We saw these fields do very poorly in the rain, which is kind of hard to imagine. I guess they're primarily soccer fields, so not a whole lot of bodies on the ground. But last year was an absolute mud fest. So I have no problems with the under. But I will give out my side as my official bet here. I am going to take North Carolina plus the points. I think if you can get them that 7.5 where they're currently sitting with a touchdown in that half point, I think that's a really good bet. Like I said, this game, besides that Notre Dame Navy game, has been a 3-point win margin each year. I think North Carolina might have a shot to win it at the end, maybe a game-winning field goal that we've seen multiple times in this game. But yeah, I think 7.5 points is just a little too much with two new quarterbacks. First game of the year. I know both teams have a decent amount of transfers, especially like you mentioned, North Carolina. I just think this is me a tighter, low-scoring game. So if you can get that 7.5, I think it's a pretty solid bet. And I know Bill Belichick is probably not going to be a fantastic coach, but he can't do worse than last year. He honestly should have retired when Brady left New England, but that's in the past. But I do think he's going to have a little bit of a comeback. Maybe he does squeak his way into a bowl game, which requires 5-6 wins. So I like them to maybe start off the season hot, potentially upset TCU. But I think that 7.5 is just a little too much. So that's where I'm going to be leaning the Tar Heels on the points, plus the points, and then I do like the under with you. But do you have anything else to mention? Again, we do have a couple more games this weekend, a couple big ones, NC State and Virginia, big ACC matchup. We have North Dakota State in their first FBS game of their program history. We have Memphis UNLV. We have USC against San Jose State, which if you are into free bets, might as well just take USC to score 60. But yeah, a pretty good weekend. We will have some more videos as we continue. But Ethan, anything to add before we sign off here?
Yeah, sounds like we're pretty much in lockstep, side and total, on that game. So good to be agreeing coming into a new season. And yeah, just one more thing I'll say, just to kind of back your side on that North Carolina. But I do, just really trust Bill Belichick, just a guy that's been around football for as long as he has, had the success that he's had in football. I know not in college, but in pro. Just to really come off of a terrible season like they had last year, where I don't know. I think the fans had expectations for him. I don't necessarily know that North Carolina had that high of expectations, but I do expect North Carolina to be better this year. And then it's just got to be so hard to lose Hoover for TCU. So yeah, I definitely think there's some value there with North Carolina. Also, is Virginia, NC State, is that going to count for the ACC record this year, or are they going to pull that BS again that put everyone into a tailspin come seeding and
that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life last year. That almost ruined it for, I mean, the ACC is an absolute joke, but that was ridiculous. I believe this is an ACC game because the team Virginia is supposed to be playing did not forfeit like they did last year. But yeah, again, interesting matchup there. NC State won that game. Virginia then went off to, I believe they play in the ACC championship game, lost to Duke. They're one of the most fraudulent teams Virginia was last year. So really interested in that game. So maybe stay tuned for a solo breakdown of that one. But like I said, yeah, very excited. College football is back. We have week 1 approaching rapidly. I am a Michigan fan. Ethan is a Michigan State fan. So we'll probably be talking about our teams a little bit here and there. But yeah, can't wait. It's a beautiful time of the year. I can already feel it. I'm getting amped up. Just need that temperature to drop a little bit. Give me some brisk fall days, and then we're totally back. But thank you guys for joining. We do have a sub goal. We want to try to get to 1,500 subscribers. So make sure you guys do like and subscribe. We do pump out quite a bit of content during football season. We will have our NFL show back for NFL week 1. And as always, make sure you guys do follow along. We love doing this, and hopefully we can continue to do this for you guys. But until then, we'll see you guys in our next episode. Later, guys.
Welcome to Better Win Green, eh? To Better Win Green, eh? To Better Win Green, eh? Listening to cash out, that's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome to our podcast. Better Win Green.